Let's continue, shall we? We're picking up in the library. Oh, you're back. We covered a few things during our investigation. Steelwind, are you acquainted with a student named Miriam Frege? She shifted slightly. It was subtle, but I could see her discomfort. Nah. I've said it before, Mr. Cuthbert. I won't fall for such an obvious bluff. Not a bluff, Steelwind, and I'll prove it using the evidence we've gathered. Let's argue. Steelwind was paranoid, and for whatever reason, it was due to the involvement of Miriam Frege. If I could convince her to reveal why she's being so secretive, she might give me more information. You've been behaving strangely, Steelwind. Even the Knights of the Inquisition have noticed. Just tell me the truth. Why are you being so paranoid? I'm not sure what you're trying to imply, Mr. Cuthbert. I prosecuted the defendant the same way I've always have. Single-handedly. Order the Knights to stay away from the crime scene, or even taking it upon yourself to conduct the investigation yourself. That's not normal behavior for a prosecutor. I took those actions because the Inquisition is incompetent. How could I possibly trust them with anything? The Knights are incompetent, but even you can see that value of delegation. During Celeste's case, you still delegated tasks to the Inquisition. You could have easily investigated the McCoy Tavern yourself. This academy is huge. You wouldn't conduct your investigation this way unless you had a good reason. And why don't you enlighten me? What would cause me to behave so strangely? And if I recall, Orem said that when she investigated this locker, when she investigated one of these lockers, I know last time I said that locker switching might look bad for Wallace. It's entirely possible that lockers were switched. So Miriam's ID is on Wallace's locker, and Miriam did something. The blood is still Miriam's responsibility. But she just put it in quote-unquote her locker, not realizing it was Wallace's. Nope, false. This is the reason why you've been acting so strangely, Steelwind. What kind of weak-willed person do you think I am? Oof. I don't think that would hardly cause me to change my behavior. Who's this? Yeah. You know that the Inquisition is corrupt and will bend the nobility. So what happened if a powerful noble were publicly involved in this case? That noble's influence, they'd probably order the Inquisition to conceal their involvement. A profile noble is involved in this case, Steelwind. I believe that noble is Miriam Frege. Again with this, you think that you could bluff me by throwing out the names of random nobles? Not every noble is a malevolent criminal like Garrick Pierce. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Nothing about this case has anything to do with House Frege. Oh, here we go. And how do you explain this, Steelwind? The commander told us that you were following a lead in the locker room yesterday. We investigated the lockers of the students from the Four Pillar families. We found stains of blood in a locker with Miriam Frege's ID number. It was presumably left by a bloody object. The bloody object must have been taken by someone, and you became extremely paranoid after you found something in the locker room. If I had to guess, I'd say you took the bloody object as evidence. And what evidence do you have to support these outrageous claims? What? The only thing you have is evidence of a bloodstain. There's a myriad of explanations for that. Everything else you've mentioned is pure speculation. I could have found any number of things in that room, or possibly nothing at all. She might bend the logic, but the profile suggests that using the fear might be good too. Don't be coy, Steelwind. Anyone can tell that the bloodstain is the most notable thing in the room. How are you so sure? You weren't there with me during my investigation. As I've said, that any number of things could have happened that might change my behavior. Ugh, just playing devil's advocate. Found an object in the locker with Miriam Frega's nameplate on it. Don't present what you found at the court. I'll have no choice but to pull the owner of that locker onto the stand. That's ridiculous. We both know that locker in question belongs to Wallace Nightgrave. Can you unequivocally prove that, Steelwind? It's the way I see it. There's a lot of room for doubt there. Enough doubt for me to pull Lady Frega onto the witness stand. If I had more context, maybe I wouldn't have to resort to that. Her brow furrowed for the bit. She was searching for a counter-argument. But she just exhaled in resignation. I'd finally gotten her. Well played, Mr. Cuthbert. I suppose I don't have a choice, do I? Just so we're clear, I wasn't acting to protect the nobility. But I'll admit that Miriam Frega was the other witness that saw Bellwether that day. I see. I had some suspicions, but it's also another matter. Steelwind tensed once again. She was still hesitant. When I was investigating the body, I found this. Oh. A tightly packed folder containing several documents. The documents contained evidence detailing multiple instances of plagiarism, fraud, bribery of school officials, and various other offenses committed by Miriam Frega. Oh. What the? Looks like Miriam's been cheating. But why would Bellwether have something like this? And the way it's arranged in this folder, I think it might have been blackmail. Miriam Frega is considered a prodigy in the practice of conjuration magic. She's won a litany of awards, and she will most definitely graduate with honors. These files were to reach the public, and would absolutely ruin her reputation. Do you think that the professor was trying to threaten her? It appears so. I discovered that several elements of the case were still unknown. That's when I found this in Wallace Nightgrave's locker. Ah! A rapier covered in blood. It was found in Wallace Nightgrave's locker. Apparently it's a valuable family heirloom to House Frega. It was reported stolen by Miriam Frega weeks before the murder. It's very likely that this was the murder weapon. The rapier is a valuable family heirloom for House Frega. And a few weeks ago, Miriam reported that the rapier was stolen from her room. Why was it found in Wallace's locker? Not that I'm complaining, but why didn't you present this in court? To be honest, I'd like to avoid involving House Frega by any means necessary. I knew it, you're just protecting her, aren't you? Miss McCoy, you recall how Wyvern Guard's justice system works. To acquit a defendant, you need to unequivocally prove that he didn't commit the crime. To do that, they either need a solid alibi, or you need to prove that someone else committed the crime. What do you suppose will happen if you bring Miriam Frega onto the stand? House Frega won't allow one of its members to be indicted in a court of law. They'll plant and forge evidence to implicate your defendant, and they'll use the Inquisition to do so. Even I wouldn't be able to stop them should it come to that. So that's why you've been keeping them away from the investigation. Can't you do anything? I thought the Steelwinds were powerful too. You don't have the support of my house. Right now, I'm just a prosecutor, nothing more. Steelwind, you know that this isn't fair for us. Just do nothing. Do nothing and let us win. Celeste! we can't go after Miriam, then you could at least help us save Wallace. I'm not going to do that. Why? What if Miriam Frege is the real killer? Her sword is the murder weapon, and Bellwether was trying to blackmail her. I seem to recall another case where an innocent person's sword was used to frame them. That's... touché. As a prosecutor, it is not my place to decide who's guilty and who's not. I won't engage in corruption, even if it's to counter corruption from another noble house. So... Suppose her point is that if we start asking too many questions of one of the 4 houses, then they get spooked and start doing shenanigans just to make sure that Miriam's clear. And then mysterious new evidence starts turning up, which implicates Wallace further. So, keeping her away from the investigation is all well and good, but if you just keep that evidence hidden for good, that's just as bad as the noble house. Like, there's a hint of a good place in her logic, but she's also being a little hypocritical herself here. She's participating in the same deal out of fear of open corruption. She's doing a bit of unintentional corruption herself. Like, unless she is planning to bring the evidence to light somehow, then she was very much participating in a bit of corruption herself. I will engage in corruption even if it's to counter corruption from another noble house. I'm sorry. Do you know where Miriam is right now? Did you not hear what I just said? You can't let her think that there's even the slightest possibility you'll indict her. She'll bring the entire wrath of House Frege down on you. I won't be able to protect you if that happens. I don't need your protection, and I can't do anything for Wallace unless I know everything that's happened. Frege has the last piece I need to put everything together. Then, yeah, like, let us call her to the stand tomorrow. And let us introduce the evidence tomorrow. If they can't actively forge evidence against Wallace, and if we j'accuse her on the stand tomorrow. Well, I suppose I don't have much of a choice, do I? Her dormitory is room 107. I imagine that she'll be there, considering that classes are suspended. Thank you, Steelman. If I don't tell you, I'm sure you'll probably just find out using some other means. But please, Mr. Cuthbert, exercise caution. What do you think about that? What do you think about that? Whoa! I followed Steelman's directions and found Miriam Frege's dorm room. The door leading inside seemed a lot more ornately decorated than the other rooms. I went to knock on the door, not realizing that it was only partially closed. My fist came into contact with the wood. I accidentally pushed it open. Oh! Have we seen you before? The door swung open. I made eye contact with the girl inside. She seemed to be studying at a desk, but she was now staring at me, stunned. I only slowly saw her expression shift from a puzzled look to a furious and violent scowl. Ah! Excuse me? How dare you barge into my room? Sorry, I was trying to knock, but... Construct, remove these hoodlums from my room. Acknowledged. In the corner of the room, an arcane construct stood up and began charging toward me at terrifying speed. Before I even knew what was happening, it raised its fist to strike me. Ooh! Ooh! Flustered, I fell back and raised my arms to shield myself. I closed my eyes, bracing for the impending impact. Instead, I heard the clang of steel striking stone. Confused, I opened my eyes to see Celeste standing between the construct and me. Her sword was drawn and was locked with the construct's fist. Despite the construct's imposing size and strength, Celeste was slowly pushing it back. Upon taking a closer look at Celeste, the girl narrowed her eyes. Construct, stand down. Acknowledged. I'm terribly sorry for that. I wasn't aware that this man was your Celeste's hand was firmly clenched around the hilt of her sword, but she put it away without another word. If the Academy allowed her to bring a retainer, she must be important. Oh my god. I haven't noticed you around campus. Are you a new student? What are you talking about? I saw an opportunity. Yes, my master just enrolled here recently. What? Celeste squinted at me, confused. I just tilted my head toward Miriam. Yes, I just started here. I take it you're Miriam Frege. Yes, it seems that my reputation precedes me. Oh boy. Spoiled daughter of the House Frege, one of the four-pillar families. Extremely arrogant, but appears to excel at her studies at the Imperial Academy. I can't imagine she has many genuine friends. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, lady. I'm Celeste. Celeste... She caught herself, pausing for what was a very awkward moment. Steelwind! I'm Celeste Steelwind! Very clever. Was she serious? There's no way Miriam was going to believe. Steelwind. It's a pleasure to meet another member of such an esteemed house. Wait, she was actually buying this? Hi, Steelwind! Just moved in, and I thought that I should introduce myself. Seeing as you're a top student in the field of conjugation? Conjuration? Conjuration. Yes. Oh, there was no backing out now. Oh my god, alright. A runestone. I have one as well, but mine is the latest model. What? You have a newer model? Can I see it? What? No. You have an arcane construct in your room. I thought they were only in the library, in the locker room. And this construct was a gift from the House von Sanctus. I have to say, they're quite convenient to have around. They look really cool. Maybe I should get one. You should. The construct will be far more useful than this attendant of yours. Yeah, maybe. It's a table for guests. It didn't look like it had seen much use until now. Having a bed. We appear to live pretty well here.
Arcanum.
Hi. Miss Frege, I was wondering if we could ask you some questions about... Excuse me, I don't believe anyone permitted you to speak. Oh, here we go. Such was still smiling, but I could faintly hear her grinding her teeth together. So, we heard about what happened to Professor Bellwether. Can't believe it. Yes, it's so quite tragic what happened to her. She had always been a friend of House Frege. She's obviously going to be more receptive to Celeste Steelwind. It might be better to let Celeste take the lead on the questioning. We hear that you saw her on the day of the murder. Tell us more about what happened. Oh, you heard about that from your relative, did you? Don't mind me asking. Why are you so interested? Oh, you know, I'm just curious is all. You know how uneventful life can be sometimes, being a noble and all. Alright, she really need to tone it down. How was that all? I was worried you were going down the same path as that poor, confused Aria. Well, in the middle of a study break anyways. I suppose I have some time to spill some tea. Speaking of, Construct, please prepare some tea. It was that lotus tea we imported for the Eastern Kingdoms. Oh, she's so awful. I love her. A lotus tea? Do you have lotus juice? I can feel myself slowly losing control of the situation. Help. Good lord. Fregas primarily control Wyverngod's finances, right? But of course, the Fregas own every banking house in the kingdom. One could even say that we alone are responsible for Wyverngod's prosperity. How about sharing that prosperity with the common folk? No, we need more of it. In fact, you should pay us more of it. I heard that you were one of the last people who saw the professor. Where did this happen? The hallways when I saw her coming out of the headmaster's office. She appeared to be heading toward the library. Do you remember what time this happened? I'm not really sure, honestly. A little embarrassing, but I have a bad habit of getting too absorbed in my work. Sometimes entire hours will pass without my notice. Do you have a rough idea, at least? At least it was in the morning. So it was before her meeting with the headmaster? Huh. Anything seem off about her? No, it was a short encounter. Really greeted her, and she responded in kind. She hiding something here that makes her angry. I thought just now, what did it mean? I slowly glanced at Celeste and caught her attention. Taking small motions, I shook my head. Miriam was holding something back. Were you the professor really? Uh-oh. That's gonna be pushing a bit far. Were you the professor really on good terms? I heard she was pretty mean toward the other students. Towards the riffraff, maybe, but not to students like us. She was my personal instructor during summer break. She fulfilled a similar role to my sister, when she studied here. She was a longtime friend of House Frege. And that's why we were planning on appointing her as the new head. We were planning on appointing her. Ah, yes. I see. Wait. What'd you just say? Did you just say that they were going to appoint Bellwether as the new headmaster? I'm surprised you didn't know. House Frege holds several seats on the Academy's board, along with the Grand General. You're making plans to have her replace that lout Redmond. You're going to sack the headmaster? Did Headmaster Redmond know about this? Oh, of course not. That was a part of the large-scale plan. Along with Redmond, we were also going to replace all the staff members with arcane constructs. We had to keep everything under wraps, or else the help would have left before we were ready. Where would that leave us? But Jan supposedly overheard Bellwether talking about the constructs. Did Bellwether prematurely reveal the plan to Theodore? Was Jan lying about how he found out? Alas, with Bellwether gone, we'll have to delay our plans. It's gonna get very dicey very quickly. Alright. Let's start asking the dangerous questions, shall we? So, we heard that Aria took your rapier as evidence for this case. Can you believe her? She still won't give it back to me. My father will have my head if I can't get it back soon. How did it even become part of the investigation anyways? I don't know. Aria won't tell me anything. I swear if that necromancer was the one who stole it, I'll execute him myself. So someone did steal it from you? Yes. I ran out of my room. When did this happen? About a few weeks ago. Maybe she didn't do it. I noticed when I came back from one of my classes. Someone removed the rapier from its display case in my room. How did they get it? Is it Jan? How did they get into your room in the first place? You think someone used magic to teleport past the door? Please, I'm a master of conjuration magic. If someone attempted that, my enchantments would have shunted them out. That meant that the thief came through one of the doors or windows. I bet it was that necromancer. I'm sure a street child like him just knows how to pick a lock. I heard that you're one of the Academy's top students. Your grades must be amazing. Nah, Of course, as an inheritor of House Vega, my grades are impeccable. That was strange. I didn't see anything contradictory through the eye this time. Was she just delusional about how good of a student she was? Or maybe her parents doing the... Maybe she's getting the Sebastian the best treatment. Sorry, a force of habit. But until I actually play the collection myself, he will remain Sebastian the best. When I get around to actually playing the External Investigations collection myself, then he will become Eustace. Until then, he's the best. Maybe she's getting the Sebastian the best treatment, where her family are manipulating the outcomes behind the scenes. Love her grades. I gestured to Celeste to continue pressing her. Oh, what kind of magic do you study here? You must be joking. I study magic for the School of Conjuration, just like most members of my house. School of Conjuration? That's the type of magic that specializes in spatial manipulation, right? Yes. I consider myself quite the expert in that field. Why, the Crown Prince himself has asked for my assistance in research lately. A research study? Again, I didn't see any thoughts that contradicted with what she was saying. If she was smart enough to get the Crown Prince's attention, why would she be cheating? You said something about my wayward relative before. You talking about Aria? Oh, I'm terribly sorry if I offended you. Oh? I'm sure it must pain you to see the way she's been acting lately. Yes, it's been extremely hard. Hang in there, Celeste. Did you know that she even interrogated me about the murder yesterday? Can you believe it? A steward running around a crime scene like a common knight. Why, if I tried something like that, my father would disown me. She's so desperate to prove she's nothing like her father. Is that really what you believe? Or are you just hiding the fact that you're here on your father's behalf? I am not working with my father. My apologies. I didn't mean to lose my temper like that. Is that why she became a prosecutor? Is it all to reject her bloodthirsty father? Aster deserves better. Honestly, she probably thinks she can do anything just because they're betrothed. Oh? My girl's got an arranged marriage? If that happens, I'll steal him back. Oh no! Oh no! If the Grand General keeps drowning these villages in blood, I imagine that even that will be in jeopardy. Oh no! His eyes perked up. I'd be lying if I said mine didn't too. I'm also curious about who this Aster was. I shook my head when she looked at me. Couldn't risk blowing our cover of some gossip about the prosecutor. Tell me the hot gossip about Aria's BF. Honestly, I don't know what Aria is thinking. This rate, it won't matter which house she belongs to. She'll be ruined. Are you actually concerned about her? What? Of course not. Fool. By the way, do you happen to know Eris Ilmater? Oh, I would stay away from her if I were you. I've heard some unsavory things have happened to people who cross her. It's no wonder she's joined forces with that necromancer. Curious? What do you think about this, Miriam? Oh, I'm terribly sorry, but I don't have much to say about that. How interesting. It's a shame what happened to the professor. She truly was the best and most vigilant among the faculty. She was certainly something. Can't believe it took so long for that necromancer to be detained. All it took was a literal murder. The trial isn't over yet. He's innocent until proven guilty. Oh, of course, you would say that. You trash can't help but sympathize with each other. Do not talk to him like that. What? Sorry, just don't, okay? Of course. This position is honestly beautiful. Celeste can give that glare and put her in her place. With authority. Your tenant doesn't appear to actually do much. How do you put up with him? Oh, you know how it is. I couldn't help but appreciate how angry she was getting on my behalf. I was aware that the Steelwind had enrolled at the academy. Which branch family were you from again? One of the far-off branches. We're not that well known. Let's see. Smooth. Very smooth. With Professor gone, the headmaster just going to bring more of those street urchins into the academy. Is that really so bad, though? Every mage should have the right to develop their powers. Don't tell me that Aria got to you. Mages were chosen by the scaled lord through divine right. Oh, here we go. Magic is something that should only be held by the nobility. These bastard children have no right to call themselves mages. Right. Maybe it was a mistake to put Celeste in this situation. That was my fault for asking that question. What do you think of the food here? You think nothing. The fig is I think, okay, yeah. You have an arcane construct in your room. Unfortunately, there are still some issues with their intelligence. Their intelligence? What happens when you give them complex commands? Might be easier to show you. Miriam turned to the construct and began beckoning it over. Construct, please retrieve my textbooks and bring them here. Then cast Steelwind Strike at this location. After that, retrieve some plates and set them out on the table. Acknowledged. What? Construct stood up and retrieved Miriam's textbooks from one of the shelves on the room. But on the table they were sitting at, just like she'd ordered. Then it suddenly stopped. Wait, what happened? The construct obviously can't cast Steelwind Strike, so my second command was impossible to carry out. But did you notice something else? Ignored your third command, too. Exactly. My third command was possible to carry out. Constructs execute a series of commands in the order that they were given. Let's say one of those tasks is impossible to complete. When the construct gets to that task, it will deem the entire series impossible to complete. As a result, it will stop executing the series altogether. Interesting. Lady Steelwind, I'm afraid we must leave now if we want to make our next engagement. Oh, right. Let's go, servant. Oh, leaving already? It's a pleasure talking to you. Yes, sure. See you around. We made our way back to the foyer with Celeste. All the time we'd spent, we only had a brief amount of time before night fell. Luckily, we found a lot during our investigation. Are you sure you didn't want to talk to her more? You were getting a lot out of her. We already got a lot of useful information out of her. The more time we spend with her, the more likely she is to see through our ruse and warn the prosecution. Right. So why Steelwind? I don't know. I panicked. And she's also got the thought of that it might actually be delightful to be sisters with Aria. To have a sister. I don't remember any of those other houses' names. Pierce would have had a lower profile. I'm not using that creep's name. Hopefully Steelwind doesn't mind us borrowing her name. And we got her statement of what she saw that day. There's also what she said about her rapier. I bet she was lying when she said it was stolen. She was probably trying to establish an alibi. I am not so sure. Why do you say that? Doesn't it feel too obvious? If she was lying about the rapier being stolen, that would imply that she planned all this in advance. If she had to choose a murder weapon, why would she choose something that literally has her family's name on it? I understand that the murder was a spur-of-the-moment decision and somehow occurred in her dorm room. In a situation like that, she might have just used something nearby. This was a premeditated murder committed by Miriam. That rapier would be the last weapon she would choose. Right, I guess that would make sense. It's also the evidence of academic dishonesty. Doesn't match up with what we heard from Miriam. You know all that stuff about working with the Crown Prince? They're probably just making things up to look good in front of me. I have an insight when it comes to things like this. Under certain circumstances, I can usually tell when someone is lying. Be able to see through a lie as grandiose as that. People could subconsciously shield themselves from the eye of Horus, even if they didn't know about it. When they did that, I wouldn't be able to see any thoughts from them. I saw that she was lying about her encounter with Bellwether. I would have seen distant thoughts if she were lying about her grades, too. Well, I guess your insight has never failed us before, but what does this mean? I don't know. Even with everything we've found, I'm still not sure who the real culprit is. Or at least I think we should still try and pull Miriam onto the stand. If she testifies in court, I might be able to find something I can use. That was a big maybe. She was the daughter of the Duke of Finance. I didn't play my cards right. That move could spook the judge enough to make him end the trial then and there. Wait, do we have time to kill? You want to head back to the library? You could continue your research. Fidgeting with her hands. Her feet were already shuffling toward the library doors. I know what you want. You just want to read Dagger at Daggerfall, don't you? It's Death at Daggerfall, and it's a great series. Every time I try to pick one of those books, I figure out who the killer is within the first few chapters. Hey. Rude. Yeah? I'm a normal human being, okay? I'm not some murder-solving prodigy. Why don't you go read one of those Wraithbound books? Maybe you'll find the unpublished sequel there, too. Celeste, that series has been finished for centuries. Ooh. Nobility paid Corin Blumel to write stories about evil necromancers. He's a sellout. Liches are magically impossible, but people still just eat that nonsense up. That man single-handedly threw the study of necromancy back into the Stone Age. What's wrong? I guess I'm thinking about what Wallace said about Coram Bloomvale. I get that you really like that series, but they're just books, Tyrion. They're more than that to me. Those books inspired me to do what I'm doing now. Wait. That story about the magic of light swords inspired you to become a defense attorney? A long time ago. I experienced firsthand how corrupt Rivengard was. I started assuming that the nobles would always win. Those books made me want to believe in a world where good could triumph over evil against all odds. Oh no. I'm realizing that Tyrion's having his Harry Potter moment. Grew up as a fan of a series where he finds out that the author was actually a political sellout scumbag bigot. Who was grappling with the grappling with these those mixed feelings. If I'd never had that, I don't know if I'd be here today. I get that, but Wallace really cares a lot about necromancy too. I've been feeling the stigma against it for this entire case. Is it really so hard to believe that those books contributed to how bad things are for him? You said it yourself. It's one of the most popular books out there. Do you even know what kind of person Corin Bloomvale was? Not really. So it could have been paid off by the nobility to write those books. No. Someone who did that could never write something so beautiful. Granted, that's likely played into harmful stereotypes out in necromancers, but I'm sure it was just an unfortunate mistake. Oh, Tyrion, you sweet summer child. I'm sure there are historical records that would notice many good deeds and contributions to society. Tyrion, you sweet summer child. Yeah, Coram Bloomvale is a very, This is a very fuck J.K. Rowling and everything she does now. Channel. Scumbag. If I show Wallace that, he'll understand that he wasn't all that bad. Sure. I looked over to her. She was already shuffling toward the entrance to the library. Alright, let's just go. Woohoo! Barely acknowledged me. She flung up the doors to the library and went inside. By the time I entered the library, she was already sitting at a table, her eyes glued to the unpublished manuscript. Alright, where to start? Here we go. Corin Bloomvale's autobiography. 1 hour later. Oh god. Oh, that hour flew by. I still couldn't finish. Oh my god, how many books did you get? It was a steel wind, Celeste! What? It was just paid with the nobility. He wasn't the nobility! Was that in the historical records? No! It's all one giant conspiracy! His old submissions to writing competitions that he'd made under his original name. The prose he used back then matches his style too closely. It's uncanny when you compare them. Some of these submissions even contain story elements that he later used and published in Wraithbound. How did you even... His real name was Lorenzo Steelwind, born the year 2208. He deserted the army and was disowned by his family, but they paid him off, Celeste. They saw that the masses liked his writing. They corrupted him. They used his artistry as a weapon to turn the public against the necromancers. They just went with it. They dangled his inheritance in front of him like a carrot on a stick. Tyrion, what the actual hell? We only been here for an hour. I know. If I just had more time, I could find enough evidence to prove this once and for all. I'm sure if I can take a few more hours to... What? Tyrion, no! Wallace's trial is tomorrow morning. Scaled Lord, how could I forget? It's fine, let's just... Wallace will want to hear about what I found. Okay, whatever, let's just go home. Naught could remain concealed, Celeste. Sure, Tyrion, you did great. Good job. Naught could remain concealed. Naught could remain concealed. Okay, much better. Tyrion has been successfully radicalized against... Oh my god. What? I know, I wouldn't believe it if I hadn't seen all the pieces there myself. It makes so much sense. The Steelwinds have always seen the necromancers as a threat to their power. Guys, I think that Bloomvale was originally part of their family. I know, right? It's cruelly insane when you think about it. Guys, focus! Wallace is on trial for murder right now. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I don't know what came over me. After I quit you want to talk more about what I found? Yes! Alright, don't lose that confidence, I guess.
Order!
Wake the fuck up, gang! We've gone to work. Course now resumed by the trial of Wallace Nightgrave. During today's trial, it was revealed the trace of necromancy might not have been left by the defendant. It may have been left by a witness who cast necromancy in an attempt to heal the victim. However, the victim was seen by witnesses well after her time of death. That could only be explained if someone had used necromancy to animate the victim's body, which begged the following question. If the victim had been raised as an undead in order to walk to the lecture hall to B, where did the murder actually take place? Does the prosecution have an answer for this? Based on the testimonies of several witnesses, it was very likely that the murder took place in the library. Interesting. What led you to this conclusion, Miss Steelwind? First, I'd like to remind the court of where the victim was sighted before the body was found. It began when the victim had a meeting with the headmaster near the center of the building. Our meeting was scheduled for 12 p.m. According to my schedule, that day our meeting lasted for an hour. This brings us to the statement of the next witness, a student at the academy. The student saw the victim walking in the hallways. I saw her coming out of the headmaster's office. She was heading toward the library. Which means that our first witness saw Bellwether leave the headmaster's office. Presumably this would have happened after a meeting there. And that would time this encounter at around 1 p.m. The other event is the discovery of the body, which is when Valentina Yanis contacted security. He suddenly spotted the professor lying in a pool of blood in the classroom. Valentina used a communication device to call for help when I tried to save her. As we've already established, this event occurred at 3:04 p.m. The significance of this time is in what occurred before the body was discovered. The second witness, a member of the cleaning staff, spotted the victim in the West Wing hallway. Bellwether knocked over a vase, and there were shards and dirt everywhere. It was probably 20-30 minutes before the twins found the body. That means that this encounter must have happened no later than 2:30 p.m. And this implies that the victim was near the library between 1 and 2:30 p.m. According to the defendant's statements, he was in the library during this time period. Furthermore, the time of death was 2:01 p.m. This means that Mr. Hughes saw the victim's animated body. Ooh. Very smooth. I see. What do you have to say in your defense, Mr. Cuthbert? The prosecution's argument is definitely well thought out, Your Honor. It's back. However, it is entirely predicated on the testimonies of all the witnesses involved. Steelwind's deduction had to have had the hole somewhere. Since our conversation yesterday, I have a feeling that Miriam was hiding something. If I wanted to get to the truth, I would need to drag that out of her through a cross-examination. Your Honor, to test the validity of these claims, the defense would like both these witnesses to testify. The defense calls Miriam Frege to the stand. Whoop! Just going right into it. Now, Frege! Mentioned her name, the judge's face turned a bit pale. He fidgeted with his gavel, looking toward the bailiff and then toward Steelwind. I had a feeling it would come to this. Do you have any objections, Miss Steelwind? I do not, Your Honor. Very well. Bailiff, please escort Lady Frega to the stand. Yep. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the... You little snakes! How dare you deceive me! Oh, it looks like she found out. I had the opportunity to debrief the witness beforehand. Miss McCoy, I asked you to exercise discretion. Did not imply that you should impersonate a member of my family. Yeah, sorry about that. I gave you all the tea that I imported from the Eastern Kingdoms. I demand that you return it to me. No! You gave them to me. They're legally mine now. Anyways, Miriam, could you please testify to the court about your encounter with the victim? Fine. Yep. I find it very funny that the nobility have their own testimony theme. This happened with Garrick, too. I was working on a research project in my dorm room when I decided to take a break. I left my room and went on a walk. That was when I saw Professor Bellwether exiting the headmaster's office. She was walking in my direction, so I greeted her, and she responded in kind. After that, she headed toward the library. A short time after that, I went back to my room and continued my work. I see. This was only a brief encounter. However brief it was, the witness's testimony verifies two things. One is that Miriam saw the professor exiting the headmaster's office. The other is that she witnessed the victim heading toward the library. This gives us a rough timeline of where the victim was before her death. It does seem consistent. Did Bellwether really entered the library after her meeting? I would have seen her there if she did. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. To the library, huh? Think of this map again. Hold it. Was this research project a part of your schoolwork? It was an independent study to develop a new conjuration spell formula. The project is being sponsored by the Crown Prince himself. Nah. I wasn't aware that he was involved in such a study. Of course you wouldn't. Did you expect to know every aspect of his life, dear Aria? Sensed some hostility. If you don't keep an eye on him, House Frega might just steal him back from you. As if His Highness would align himself with your rapacious family again. The girls are hiding. Ha! Our banking houses form the economic infrastructure of our kingdom. Perhaps he'll come to the Steelwinds if he needs to massacre a village of commoners. With all due respect, maybe please focus on the matter at hand. Of course, Your Honor. Oh boy. Okay. And you're sure that you saw her exit the headmaster's office? Yes, I remember it clearly. Surprised that she was still meeting with the headmaster at all. She's been referring to her family's plot to replace him. Did you interact with the professor at all, Miriam? Anything seem off about her? No, but it was a very short encounter. Not as if we stopped to have a conversation. She said that you greeted her and she responded. What did she say? Why is that important? Smack. Miss Frega, it's possible that someone used illusion magic that day. Every detail about the victim's interactions could be important. Smooth, well played, Tyrion. Well, I bid her good morning. She said good morning in response. Huh. Smack. And you're certain that nothing seemed off about her? Yes, like I said, it was a very short encounter. It only happened over a few seconds. The witness's interactions are not what's important here. What matters is that she witnessed where the victim was coming from, and where she went afterwards, and where she was coming from. Cotton Eye Joe. Hold it. Smack. Did you see her enter the library? I didn't, but there's not much else in that direction. With the testimony of Jan Hughes, we know that she later came to the library. If she didn't enter the library, she was still in that area for more than an hour. Hold it. How long did you leave your dorm room? Only for a few minutes. I try not to let my breaks go for too long. And you didn't see the professor again after your first encounter? No, I did not. Testimony seems pretty straightforward, but she could still be lying. Honestly, not sure. We'll just have to focus on her statements about how Bellwether acted. She's very curious about that. What do we make of this? So I have a really dumb thought here. But it might be something. It might be the reason why she's reacting that way. It was 1 p.m. Andrew said good morning and Bellwether said good morning. Is that... Objection! Miss Frege, if I recall correctly, you have a habit of getting absorbed in your work. Oh, you don't know what time it is, yeah. So much so that you even lose track of the time of day. If I recall correctly, you pulled that information out of me through your lies. Regardless, earlier in today's proceedings, the prosecutor made the following argument. Our first witness saw Bellwether leave the meeting with the headmaster. That would time this encounter at around 1 p.m. Miss Frege, if you had said good morning to the professor, you would have been mistaken. Because that encounter could only have happened during the afternoon. And your point is, you said to yourself, Mr. Cuthbert, the witness simply lost track of time. What the witness said isn't what's important here. The significance is in what the professor said in response. She just came out of a meeting that was scheduled for noon and ran for an hour. You'd be well aware that it was no longer morning. Wouldn't she have corrected the witness? Their encounter was extremely short. The victim's mind may have been preoccupied. You could have easily responded to the witness without thinking. I'm gonna be honest, I kind of agree with her. It's hard to believe that they were both confused about the time. It was definitely a stretch, but I still couldn't shake the feeling that Miriam was hiding something. Every time I asked her about how Bellwether was acted that day, the ire of Horace read a suspicious thought. There had to be something there. Miss Frege, you haven't been entirely truthful in your testimony, have you? That's absurd. What reason would I have to lie? Every detail about how she acted is important, Miss Frege. What aren't you telling us? Mr. Cuthbert, you have no basis to accuse the witness of perjury. Yes, you will stop this at once. Miss Frege, you're lying about how Bellwether responded to your greeting, aren't you? All she did was yell. Miss Frege, is it possible that Bellwether's response was less than friendly? What do you care? What difference does it make? My job is to make sure every part of your testimony is truthful. Every detail matters, no matter how seemingly insignificant. Mr. Cuthbert, you will stop this, or I will find you in contempt. The professor yelled at you, didn't she, Miss Frege? Yeah, sort of she did. I mean... I'm sorry, but we all clearly heard what you just said. So, you do admit that she yelled at you? You impertinent little... Yes, I admit it. The professor didn't greet me back that day. Oh, good morning, Professor. Be quiet. Hmm? Well, that sounds familiar. She ordered me to be quiet. Until then, we had always been nothing but courteous with each other. I don't know what got into her that day, but something had put her in a foul mood. But that's it. Everything else I said was the truth. I did see her coming out of the headmaster's office and walk toward the library. She wasn't lying about that. So, was that all, Mr. Cuthbert? What do you mean, is that all? You badgered the witness, only so you could prove? What exactly? The witness committed perjury. The witness changed a small detail of her testimony. A detail that is inconsequential to this case. Yeah, I'm with her. I'm with her, Tyrion. It was clearly an act with no malicious intent. Seeing her thoughts, it was difficult to disagree with that. I was so sure that the eye would give me a thread to pull on, but she was only lying to save face. The witness saw the victim leave the headmaster's office and head toward the library. Do you have any concrete evidence to refute that, Mr. Cuthbert? No, I guess not. Wait, is that really okay? This way, this will be the only chance you have to cross-examine her. I don't think she's lying anymore, and I was really pushing my luck earlier. If I continue pressing her, the judge might actually charge me with contempt. If Miriam wasn't the one who was lying, then... There is no further questions for the witness, Miss Steelwind. The prosecutor stayed silent for a while. She almost looked disappointed. Very well, Miriam, you are dismissed. Miriam shot me a look of disdain, but she left the room without protest. The judge let out a sigh as the young noble was escorted out of the room. It was as if he were expecting the young noble to literally explode at any moment. Now, with that out of the way, what else do you have, Mr. Cuthbert? The only way to refute the prosecution's theory was to cast doubt on one of the witnesses. If it wasn't Miriam, then... Steelwind. To test your theory, we must question every witness who saw the victim that day. So with that said, the defense would like to call Jan Hughes to the stand. I hope you understand, Mr. Cuthbert. Your entire case rests on the assumption that one of the witness accounts is incorrect. If your cross-examination of Mr. Hughes leads nowhere, then I hope you're ready to concede. I didn't like the sound of it, but she was right. Unless I could find something in Jan's testimony, I wouldn't have a case at all. Bailiff, please begin, Mr. Hughes. Yeah, because now Bellwether's actions line up with what Jan said. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the courtroom. Witness, name and occupation. Oh, right. My name is Jan Hughes. I'm on the cleaning staff at the academy. Mr. Hughes, please testify to the court about your encounter with the professor that day. All right. I saw the professor when I was cleaning the West Wing hallways. It was about 20 or 30 minutes before the body was discovered. She walked by me, but she looked pretty out of it. I heard she was undead when this happened. Pretty creepy, if you ask me. After that, she went into the empty classroom. Wait, that was straightforward. Come on, Jan, what are we supposed to do with that? I don't know. You guys are the lawyers. Just telling you what I saw. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. Hold on. It's back. How are you so sure it was 30 minutes before? I always check the time to make sure I'm on schedule. I was supposed to finish cleaning the hallways by 3 p.m. Right, the body was discovered at 3:04 p.m. What was the professor like, Mr. Hughes? Hold it. Did anything else look off about her? Yeah, probably. She wasn't undead after all. That remains to be proven. If you say so. Anyways, what was her demeanor like? She looked like she was in a bad mood. I thought she was tired, but I guess she was actually just dead. I believe you've forgotten a few details about what the professor did. Yeah? Sorry, it's hard to remember these things sometimes. Did she touch anything? Oh, yeah. She knocked over a vase and shattered it. It might have been an accident, but she's done stuff like that on purpose. It's back. This detail could be extremely important. Please add it to your testimony, Mr. Hughes. Whatever you say, man. Yeah? He's not giving us a lot to work with. Tend to leave out details unless we directly ask about them. Ask him the right questions. Maybe we can pull information out of him. Oh, okay. Have you forgotten if you... do anything to you? Did she interact with you at all? Oh, yeah. I noticed her at first and accidentally got in her way. She shoved me to the side and kept walking forward. Alright. Did you see anyone else entering the classroom? I'm honestly not sure. I wasn't paying too much attention to her. I did think it was weird that she went in there. This funky smell, I can't think of any reason why someone would go in there. It's not giving us... Yeah, actually knocked with the base, she yelled at me to be quiet. I didn't even say anything. Yeah, animate corpse cannot make you speak.
Objection!
Mr. Hughes, you said that Bellwether yelled at you. What were her exact words? I think she yelled at me to be quiet. What? That was weird. I didn't even say anything. I know better than to talk back to her. That's the thing, Mr. Hughes. The prosecution's theory is as follows. The professor was murdered in the library and was reanimated using animate corpse. The quick illusion spell, no one would notice that she was undead. However, if what you saw was truly the undead Bellwether, how did she speak to you? Huh? This can't be right. Mr. Hughes, undead can follow simple orders, but they don't have the intelligence to speak. Perhaps the witness was mistaken. No, I'm sure I heard her yell at me. I heard because what she said didn't make any sense. Exactly, he didn't say anything, but she still yelled at him to be quiet. Wait a minute. It's like it was responding to order it was given. Move from the library to the empty classroom. Or walk along this predetermined path. Respond to any noise you hear with be quiet. I'm afraid I don't understand. We've already established that the victim was dead long before I encountered with Mr. Hughes. Or better yet, just like if anybody speaks to you, tell them to be quiet. And yeah, I still think it was like an animated construct that walked to the empty classroom. Animated construct with illusion, just completely disguises as her. We already established the victim was dead long before her encounter with Mr. Hughes. But if what she saw wasn't undead, what was it? It had to be an undead. What the explanation is there? It couldn't have been a major illusion. Yeah, major illusion is a complete illusion, but takes up no physical space. It could have been a construct with illusory disguise. Otherwise, it would have been able to shove Jade out of the way or knock over the vase. Whatever it was, someone probably used an illusory disguise to make it look like Bellwether. Does that mean it was a person? No. If it were a person, how did Bellwether's body end up at the lecture hall? Bellwether wouldn't be able to turn herself invisible if she were dead. Whatever Jan saw, it needed to be something that could have transported Bellwether's body unseen. It would have also needed to have a mass and the ability to speak. At the very least, it needed to be something that could recreate Bellwether's voice. What could have done that? Construct. That's it! What? Smack. Everyone, the witness didn't actually hear the dead victim speaking. What he actually heard was Bellwether's voice being recreated using magic. Are you trying to say that her voice was recreated using a spell? Not a spell, Steelwind, it was artificery. Whoever the murderer is, they had the perfect piece of artificery available to them. One programmed with Catherine Bellwether's voice. That can't possibly mean... That's right, Steelwind. Mr. Hughes saw was an arcane construct. An arcane construct? It's a magically animated suit of armor, Your Honor. We ruled out such a possibility, hadn't we? Construct or not, no one could disguise themselves and carry the body to the classroom. person wouldn't have been able to do it, but arcane constructs are a different thing entirely. Those suits of armor are extremely large, but more importantly, they're hollow. It means that theoretically someone could have placed the victim's body inside it. The arcane construct wouldn't just transport the body. The illusory disguise would also confuse and mislead anyone who saw it.
Objection!
I commend your deduction, Mr. Cuthbert. I would have never considered that possibility. It's certainly plausible, but what does this prove, actually? It proves that the body wasn't animated using necromancy. My client isn't the murderer. The defendant is still capable of performing all the acts that you described. This compendium contains illusory disguise, after all. There were several students in the library that day. Any of them could have committed the murder. One might come to that conclusion if they didn't have one crucial piece of evidence. Let's present a new piece of evidence to the court. Under a table, Steven pulled out Miriam Frega's bloody rapier. A sword? Is that? Yes, Your Honor. This is the murder weapon. Well, this rapier was reported stolen by Miriam Frega weeks before the murder. During the investigation, it was finally found in the defendant's locker. Wait! He was clearly trying to use one of her possessions in a paltry attempt to frame her. Why, he even stole her locker's nameplate and placed it over his. But that wasn't really what happened. Honestly, it sounds more plausible than what really took place. We're basically back to square one, aren't we? Welcome to the art of lawyering. Anyone could have told that construct to do all those things. Wait, was that really true? The construct transported the professor's body, and someone used a delusion to make it look like her. They even used a pre-recorded voice to make the illusion more convincing. Could anyone have done that? He ordered the construct to hide the body. We're gonna say the headmaster?